Hello everyone, welcome back to the theater. Drive Me Crazy here, and today we are coming to you with a video that has been in the works since August of last year. Before we get into it, as usual, anything shown off here will not be redistributed. This is purely for educational purposes. This being said, we do have an announcement at the end of this video, so stick around for that. Without further ado, let's dive into the Persona 4 beta.
To first start off on section 1, you all need a bit of background information on how we came about this information. When we released our Persona 3 beta video, someone had commented asking about a potential Persona 4 beta/prototype video. At the time, we had responded with we didn't have any information on how to obtain the prototype, but then around August 7th of 2024, one of our co-hosts, Ant, had found information regarding a unused debug menu in Persona 4, and this whole video is really happening because of this information he found. As for why this video took so long, to cut down a very long story, we were trying to find a way to make the Japanese version work, since from the information we had found, the Japanese version was more complete than the American version. And it was endlessly frustrating. We never got it to work. But thankfully, the American version does work for the most part. Small issue, most of the menus are broken, but that's not a big deal since we have ways to bypass the main menu. So keep that in mind, and you won't be seeing the main menu during this video, since it is broken with no regards of saving it. Now that asks the question, what does work and what doesn't work? The section's going to be quite short, since we are just showing the menus that worked and what menus don't work, and what they contain if they did. And the menus we were able to get working on the American version were as following: Dungeon View and Editor, Calendar Main, Calendar Restart, Start Game, Name Entry, Food Court, Large Map. We will not be covering these following ones: Dungeon Editor, Calendar Main, Calendar Restart, Start Game, Name Entry, and Movie, due to the fact that these are either self-explanatory or the exact same as the P3 beta counterparts, which we covered in the two videos we did on the P3 beta. Now, I will just show up on screen here what didn't work. And it's not for lack of trying on these. Either these made the game hang, or would put up a menu that made the game hang, and we really didn't know how to get these working. A lot of these are either self-explanatory or just don't work due to the broken nature of the menu in the American version. So that's a massive sorry on our part that we weren't able to get these working, which is the reason we were chasing after the dream of the Japanese version for so long. But anyhow, I'll give my hat off to Ant as he explains the really cool things we were able to find out about the stuff that did end up working.
To start off with the Dungeon Viewer, we'll be covering each individual unused floor, but more of what they all have in common, the ones with unique results and ones with unique oddities to them. For the first dungeon floor, which is level 1, that is the main TV World Hub, with all party members present. Dungeon level 2 brings us to the Magatsu Inaba entrance in a state before the portal access to the dungeon is open, with everyone gathered around. From here on, things are normal. You can access Yosuke, Chie, and Yukiko boss arenas from here as well. But for this, you can also access unused floors. In Yukiko's castle, there's exactly 6 unused floors in her dungeon. All of them are relatively the same. Floors dubbed 014 through 019 are much bigger than they usually are in normal playable generated rooms. This is a consistent trend with the rest of the dungeons. To keep this in mind, only one thing we can talk about here is Yukiko's castle. On floor 018, we found a chest that harmed us upon opening it. We dubbed these Mimic Chests. Not sure if these were concepts that Atlus planned with having Mimic Chests that would harm players or not, but we can't be sure. Along with this, we found these shadows with models being white instead of purple. According to the cutting room floor, these were unused models for the shadows, and when you engage in combat with these shadows, they spawn 5 stasis giants. Now with the rest of the dungeon, there's really nothing to cover, except for a few things. Every 20 levels was a new dungeon in the Dungeon Viewer. With this being, we decided to head to the Void Quest dungeon. It was here when we found something odd. At level 75 in Dungeon Editor, if you continue from 074, then head to 075, you would end up in Magatsu Inaba with Void Quest music. This isn't a joke. Take a look and listen. After this, there wasn't anything special, until the final dungeon, which in-game is called Yomatsu Hirasaka. If we go to level 140 in the Dungeon Editor, we end up at the entrance to Yomatsu Hirasaka, but it's under the name Ashihara Nakatsu. We go over to this section since it's going to be significantly shorter than the last section. The large map is a simple fast travel test to get location to location. The food court, however, is a bit strange. You can exit this and wander around in the state, with the in-game date being 410, as usually non-playable date in Persona 4. If you do wander around though, it can really get creepy. If you go into the weapons shop and the sky becomes red, if you go to the river and head to the school, you can wander around the school in the darkness and silence. Also, there's no other student besides you there. Other than that, there's really nothing to cover here than a few glitches. Now, what is there to cover? Well, sadly nothing else really. This is all we've been able to cover and find. With that, this brings us to the announcement you've all been waiting for. So we are sad to say this will be one of the final prototype videos we do. We have one more in the works. We won't get into the reason why we're stopping the production of prototype videos here and now. That's a story for another time. Until then, if you enjoyed this video, please like, share, and subscribe. Until next time everyone, this is The Theater, signing off.